Merry meet and welcome everyone. This is your celestial host, Sirona Rose, and this is a recap of the AstroTarot show that was aired on October the 24th. Now, I hope you all enjoyed the past 2 weeks. I know it's been 2 weeks since I've given one. I have been on the road lately, so please forgive me. And as you can see, I'm in a different background, so I am yet on the road again. So I hope you all had a blessed 2 weeks. And today is the new moon, not a full moon, but a new moon in Scorpio. And I'm down here by the beach, and I was wanting to record this on the beach because it is Scorpio, but of course, Scorpio brings rain as well, so we're having a lot of rain here on the East Coast. So before I get into all of that, I just want to let you know about what this show is about. And my Astro Tarot show airs every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on thecauldron.net. I will link that link in the description below. And I started out doing this show to help people understand astrology. I did start a blog back in 2015. It was Tarot Rubre. You can find that on the WordPress. And I did start out doing that. I would discuss the astrology and earth energy. And at that same time, I was also doing a tarot reading for the new and full moons. And I just saw how they worked wonderfully together, and everybody kept asking more questions and just enjoying it. So I just decided to combine the two, making it a bit simpler. Now, this time of year, as we are getting closer to Samhain, which is a lot of people know as Halloween, but Samhain is a big holiday for pagans, and it is the end of the year. It is also a time to remember our ancestors. And this time of year always makes me really nostalgic as I think about our ancestors, and I look up at the sky and I think about them looking at that same sky. They could see it a lot clearer than we can see it because of all the lights and the artificial lights and such that we have nowadays. But it just really helps me to connect to that web of life, and it just puts me in a different kind of mind frame this time of year. Now, I do provide updates and different kind of readings on my social media pages. So if you haven't followed me, please do so. And also, do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. That way you will always get the updates as soon as I post them. Now, again, my show airs every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on thecauldron.net. That is where you will get to hear this firsthand, and you'll get to know what is going on. And like I stated, this show is to help you understand what is going on in astrology. And I do want to add that astrology doesn't cause things to happen. It just explains the underlying energy that we might be feeling at that time. Such as retrogrades. Retrogrades do not cause things to happen. They just provide an energy underlying that explains these things that are happening. Each planet represents different concepts. It has different aspects. So, with that, such as Mercury, we'll talk about Mercury in a moment. Mercury is about communication. So, yes, it's going to affect communications. And like I said, I'll get into that in just a second. Now, the way that I do this show is that I allow you to hear the astrology, and then we do a reading as I'm bringing the stars down to us. Normally working with astrology, we're working with our throat chakras up. And here I'll be bringing that energy down to us and grounding it into Mother Earth and using the wheel of the year, the Celtic wheel of the year, and showing you how to use that to walk through that. As above, so below, as within, so without. Now, this video is not going to include the divination part. It's only going to include the astrology. I'll have to do the divination part a little bit earlier. I just wanted to do this as today is the new moon in Scorpio, and I wanted to get this message out to you all. Now, just a reminder, I do write for the awesome pagan magazine, The Witch's Brew. I write the column, The Witch's Kitchen, Healing, Cooking, and Herbs the Witch Way. We just released our new issue, and I do not have it on me at this time, but I will make a video and show you that. Go on over to ancientsisters.com to get your copy, or better yet, get a subscription. That way you will never miss an issue. It's a wonderful, wonderful magazine. It's one of the only ones that you can get that have actually initiated elders in it, real people who have walked the path for many, many years, who are very knowledgeable in their path. So, like I said, I will do that at a later date. I'll show you that one later when I'm doing the divination. Now, also, I wanted to let you know that my video can also be seen on fringetv.online, which is an esoteric and alternative programming. You'll have environmental, you'll have metaphysical content, you'll have different kinds of movies, different talk shows, documentaries, educational, there's home shopping on there, there's a lot more. And if you would like to, like for me, to advertise your business worldwide, you can contact me for that. I will tell you, I am very familiar with advertisement and the cost of advertisement, as that was what I used to do in my daytime job, right? But that is what I used to do. So I understand how costly advertising can get. And this is very reasonable, very, considering the coverage that you will get. This is worldwide coverage. So I'll link my email address in the bottom. So if you're interested in that, you can just email me and we can go from there. Like I said, it's very affordable and you will not want to miss out on that. Now, I want to talk about a few things that have happened with space weather. Back on the 24th and 25th, we did have a large hole in the sun's atmosphere that was facing Earth, and it spewed solar wind in our direction. So we can expect some geomagnetic storms with that, as well as auroras. Please keep in mind that, you know, as beautiful as they are, they do cause us to have physical symptoms as well. We can have issues with our cell phones, with our internet, things like that. But we also can have body aches. We can just feel tired. We can just feel dehydrated. These are things, and it does affect us physically as well. For our intuitive, we can be extra sensitive, especially for it being right here close to a new moon in Scorpio, which is all about, you know, Scorpio is a water sign, so it's all about our emotions, and Scorpio is depth. It's below the surface, it's deep waters. Its planet is Pluto, so it's very deep, so be careful with that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about, and let's see what the stars are going to say for the week of October the 24th through October the 31st. Let's see here. On the 23rd, okay, around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the sun moved into the sign of Scorpio. So I want to wish all of you Scorpios out there a very happy birthday season. This is going to be an intense season, like I've stated before. This energy for October is definitely different than September, and well, November is going to be a different story as that, and now I'll get to November when we get to November. Remember, we are building up energy to a major alignment between Pluto and Saturn in January 2020. We also have a lunar eclipse in January. So this is a building up of energy, and yes, it's going to be intense. So just hang tight. It will be okay. You just have to go through this one step at a time. This energy can, if you're ultra sensitive, it can overstimulate you. You can be overwhelmed. You have to step back and take things as they come. Don't live too far in the future. Yes, it's good to plan, of course. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about worrying about what's happening next week, what's happening next year, what's going to happen in 5 years. Take this one day at a time and let it simply unfold for you. Now, the new moon will be in Scorpio on October the 27th, and that will be at 11:37 p.m. That is tonight for those of you on the Eastern Time. At 11:39 p.m. tonight, we'll be having our new moon. For those of you on Pacific Time, that will be at 8:39 p.m. That's really hard to say, right? And then at the UK, it'll be at 3:39 a.m. and that will be on October the 28th, 2019. Now, a new moon simply means that it is sharing the same degree as the sun. It's in the same place, okay? And this begins a new phase of the moon, a new beginning, as well as an ending. So for the next 2 weeks after a new moon, it's good for starting new things, projects, those kind of things. This is a new beginning, right? So astrologically speaking, it will be conjunct with the sun at 4 degrees. And in numerology, 4 is about stability, it's about patience and perseverance with unbreakable spirit. Think of working hard in order to build a long-lasting, secure foundation. The number 4 is the energy of tremendous self-control. So would it surprise you to know that the number 4 is connected to Uranus and Taurus, but its planet is Aries. And it represents the Emperor card in the Tarot. And these are great energies to have as we just entered the Scorpio season. Scorpio is about the hidden and the unknown. Now, we will be needing self-control energy from number 4 because this moon will be opposite Uranus. Remember, Uranus is the awakener, so you can expect change, sudden change. Maybe something will be revealed to you that you will have to make some changes in your life. It can feel chaotic, so patience will definitely be needed at this time. You will need to be careful, very careful, as this can have you wanting to make some risky moves or have a little bit of impulsiveness. Be careful here, as this can lead to accidents, mistakes, and that will impact you long term. This energy can have you feeling very provocative as well, so watch out for that. There could be someone who enters your life that will bring these attributes. So it would behoove you to leave them where you found them. Also, please keep in mind that this can create restlessness, erratic energy within us. It can also touch on the earth physically as well, such as earthquakes, fires, and other natural disasters. This could also challenge relationships as well. Maybe some of you are feeling lost within a relationship and losing your personal identity. Sometimes we can get lost in a relationship. We get so involved with someone else, we forget who we are. And pay attention to your ego here, and watch out for your pride, because it can have you doing some things that you wouldn't regularly do. Operating in full ego is not good for you at all. So make sure you have some patience here. Slow down. This is not the time to rush. Remember, Venus is in Scorpio as well. So we need to remember how to stay true to our individual self while being one in partnership with another. Again, this could be chaotic energy. So do not make any rash decisions. That's what I'm saying. Don't operate in your pride and your ego. You do not want to make a decision that you will later regret, because it may be too late for you to fix that. Now, this unexpected stuff can be within, yes, but it could also pertain to our outside world as well, especially with Pluto and Capricorn. We could see some things change within our governments and other legal institutions, and this can touch on money as well. This energy can cause rebellious energy to be unleashed, so watch out with that. Our world is evolving. Okay, we obviously, all of us can see that our world is changing right now. It's in the middle of a transition of its own. And it does go through cycles. The earth is a living thing. It breathes, it lives, and it has its own cycles that it goes through. It has its seasons. It has its time and place for things. Remember, all things change. Change is our only constant, and we must learn how to adapt and to move within that change. We cannot let it overtake us. We have to be able to accept this change and learn to work from it, using that chaotic energy in order to build something productive. There may be a lot, and that's where creation comes from, is that chaos. It is focused intent, right? So we need to focus. We need to ground ourselves. It's going to be very important for us to stay grounded, especially on the 31st, because that is when Mercury will station and begin his retrograde motion. And for those that are sensitive empaths that do not know how to shield themselves, you might want to be careful about who you are around at this time, because it can be a very sensitive time for you. You need to learn how to shield yourself. A lot of people like to carry amulets such as stones, things like that. All of this, you need to learn how to shield yourself so you're able to be around anything and still be in that calmness, still be in that center. People have been mentioning that energy is feeling electric. It's feeling off, it's feeling weird, it's uncertain, or just feeling the difference, right? They're just feeling static electricity in the air, okay? What we are feeling is the turning of the wheel. Because yes, we are turning. A lot of people like to throw off Halloween. They call it Halloween. Oh, it's just for kids stuff. Halloween is not just for kids. Halloween is Samhain. It's an important day. This is when we honor our ancestors, and it's also when we enter the dark time of the year. This teachings has been lost in time because of a conversion that happened many years ago. Now, that is an entirely different story, and I will not go into that. But, our ancestors, they had these special times that they deemed very important. And when these times happen, we do feel it, especially, this one, it is a changing, such as the winter solstice that's coming up. We just had the fall equinox a few weeks ago, right? These times are a turning point on our earth, and it can cause these different energies, okay? Now, this movement with Mercury is only going to add to that energy, and that's why I'm saying you need to be careful. Don't be too rash, because with Mercury retrograde, communication can be it can be confusing sometimes. Maybe you're not seeing, you're not reading the fine print, so to speak. There may be some stuff that's not revealed to you in the beginning. Take things slow, have patience. Um, this isn't a bad time. Retrogrades is not, it's not a negative time. It's a time for the reorganizing, remembering, reevaluating. It's a good time to step back and take things slow to, decide whether these things are still needed in your life. With communication, are you communicating clearly? Are you understanding what other people are saying to you? You know, thought processes. Are you too much in your mind? Because Mercury is about our mental as well. And at this time, we can really stay too in our head with some things. So like I said, grounding will be very, very important for the next few weeks up until, Mercury goes out of retrograde. Now, this moon will mark the time we enter the land of the dead. And as we are only a few days away from Samhain, and what that means, that's not some drastic thing, but it is, because this is a time for our ancestors, a remembering of our ancestors. This is a time when you will need to trust into your intuition, trust in yourself. This moon will allow you to travel through your challenges as you will come out refreshed, offering you the gift of rebirth. Okay, like I said, this is awesome energy, and this is what you make of it, okay? If you're having a hard time during retrogrades, what I tell people all the time is that, people say, oh, it's retrograde, it's so hard, this, that, and the other. If you're having a hard time, then maybe you need to step back and figure out why you're having a hard time. Are there some things that you really don't want to look at? Things that you don't want to acknowledge, especially with this new moon that we're having here. And we are in the season of Scorpio. So this is about hidden knowledge, the secrets. Secrets could come out. So this energy is chaotic. And I urge you to be careful. This is also a time when a lot of people like to dive into the occult practices. And I urge you to be careful doing this. If you do not know what you are doing, if you're new, be careful. This energy is chaotic. If you're a neophyte or a newbie, just beginning on an occult path, this is not the time for you to take the arts on a test drive. Okay? You're working with energy, and if you do not understand that, if you do not understand what I'm saying, it's very, very obviously you do not need to be playing with it. Energy is energy. It can create, it can destroy. And that's what you need to understand. Now, this is a perfect moon for writing down your goals for those of you that like to do manifestation, new moon manifestation. This is an awesome time for that because, like I said, new moons are a new cycle. It's a new beginning. It's an ending and a new beginning, and especially, it being in Scorpio, you can really get in touch with your intuitive side and really listen to yourself. It's time to, make your wishes and desires known. Like I said, new moons are about beginnings. Release old energy because it is an ending as well, and open yourself up to new. It is ideal for meditating, writing in your journal, drumming, if you're into that. It's time for grounding, centering, feeling the earth. Feel the earth. If you're able to get out and walk on in your yard barefooted, do so, or enjoy a beautiful park. If you're able to go out and walk or hike on the nature trails, I urge you to do that. It is a great time to be in nature and just listen to the messages that your ancestors are offering you through the wind. It is a beautiful time to connect with that energy. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Samhain because I have been mentioning it here, and it's playing a huge role in astrology right now. Now, to the ancient Celts, the year had two hinges. And these were Beltane, which is the 1st of May, and Samhain, which is the 1st of November, which is also the traditional Celtic New Year. And these 2 days were the most magical and often the most frightening times of the year. And why is that? Because the earth is moving, right? It's clicking. Beltane starts the light half, Samhain begins the dark half. To the Celtic people, they believed in superstitions. They were very superstitious, and they were in awe of times and places of the in-between. And they considered these holy sites, such as border places, like the shore between the land and the water, seas, lakes, rivers, right there on the banks. They saw that as a border place. That was an in-between place. Bridges, boundaries between territories, especially when marked by bodies of water. Crossroads, thresholds, etc. These were all holy sites. And holy sites were also border times, or I should say holy times, were border times such as twilight and dawn, marking the transition between night and day, or day and night. And Beltane and Samhain is the marking of the transitions of summer and winter, of light and dark. Now read your myths and your fairy tales. Many of these stories occur in such places and at such times. At Samhain, which corresponds to modern Halloween, time loses all meaning, and the past, present, and future become one. The dead and the denizen of the other world walk among the living. It was a time of fairies, ghosts, demons, and witches. Winter itself was the season of ghosts, and Samhain is the night of their release from the underworld. Now, many people lit bonfires to keep evil spirits at bay. They would also light a torch and carry it around the boundaries of their home, their property. Light a torch and carry it around, protecting their property and farms. And they would do this also for the town. They would light torches all around the town to protect the property and the residents against spirits throughout the winter. It was also a time for building labyrinths, which represent the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Now, speaking of ancestors, I want to talk a little bit about cultural beliefs. And this goes right in hand with our astrology here, because this is exactly what we are talking about. Like I said, our ancient Celts were very superstitious people. Now, regarding their cultural beliefs, and other ancestral cultural beliefs, the Celts had held deep beliefs about the Pleiades. And did you know that many of its stars shine hundreds of times more brightly than our sun? Did you know that? Some ancient cultures, such as the Celts, Peruvians, and Mexicans, believe that the Pleiades is where the human race comes from, and it has been linked to the creation of man. Known as the Star People, many of these ancient cultures believe that when they die, they will return back to the Pleiades. Now, many festivals were created to honor this time, such as the Festival of the Dead, Samhain for the Celts, Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead for the Mexicans, Dia de los Difuntos for the Peruvians. It was a time when the veil between the worlds opened, as well as the gates to Pleiades, allowing our lost ones to travel back and forth between the worlds. In Greek mythology, the Pleiades were the companions of the nymphs in the train of Artemis, and together with the seven Hyads were called the Atlantides, the Dodonides, or the Nasiads. They were the nursemaids and teachers to the infant Dionysus. They were thought to have been translated to the night sky as a cluster of stars, and they were associated with rain. The Pleiades are the seven daughters of the Titan Atlas, the Titan Atlas, and the sea nymph Pleione, and were born on Mount Selene. There's some words, right? My tongue just does not want to work today. Now, although we can see six, it is said the seventh sister left her sisters to marry a mortal. Now, that's just talking about the seven ones that we mostly can see. We can see the sixth, but the seventh did leave her sisters to marry a mortal. Now, there are several myths regarding the Pleiades, and of course, there is more to the story than I just told you. I just told you the surface of that. So I'm going to let you go read and do your own research about them and see what you can learn from them. I do feel that it's very important for everyone to study on their own, do their own research. I do not believe in spoon-feeding people information. When it comes to astrology, I help you out as much as I can, but when it comes to myths, these myths are very important, and it's something that you should really, really research and really dive into. These ancient myths do tell a story, and they tell us a lot about how our people lived, about what they believed in. It was their foundation. And if you read the myths and the stories of your ancestors, you will discover a lot about your ancestors and about their life and how they lived. Those are very important. Those things should never be taken for granted. And, as you begin to study who you are. A lot of people are doing DNA tests here lately. A lot of people are rediscovering who they are. And I feel that it's very, very beneficial for you to actually go and study the ancient ones, study the ancestors, and take it back. Because if you're Celtic, well, Celtic covers a lot of region. You can pinpoint that. And I have done so. It's very rewarding. It's time consuming, but it's wonderful to do, and I urge you to do that. Now, that is it of astrology. If you would like some more information, if you have questions, always feel free to email me. I can help you out as much as I can. I will be putting up the divination portion later. I just wanted to make sure I got out this new moon reading for you so you can prepare for this energy that this new moon is bringing to us. And, you can just expect a lot of secrets to be known, a lot of hidden knowledge to be exposed. I'm feeling that's going to be really, really big. There's going to be things that's been happening under this, behind the scenes, underneath the water, so to speak. And I think that we're going to be seeing all of that come out, and I think we're going to have a lot of revealing take place. It seems that this past year, especially with Neptune being in Pisces, there is a lot of things that really just seem very much an illusion. Things are not what they seem. And, Neptune in Pisces, that's very much Hollywood energy. It's the props, it's Hollywood, it's what you want people to see. It's not reality. And when I think of Hollywood, I think of Neptune, and I think of that Neptune being in Pisces, and how Neptune will love to take you down to those deep waters of Pisces. And yes, it's great for creation. It's great for your creative abilities. It's really good for that. but it can also have you swimming in a deep sea of illusion and being led down a path that is completely unreal. So remember, for this new moon and this time being, especially with Mercury being in retrograde at the end of this month, it's going to be very important for you to stay grounded and stay centered. Don't act too rash. Be patient. Allow the unfolding of things. Allow things to grow and to bloom on its own. You know, when you plant a seed, you don't expect to come out the next day and see this beautiful flower already bloom. No, it takes time. And, you know, in our world is we're all about instant gratification. You know, we can go to fast food restaurants and get food right when we want it. We can go to the store and buy what we want right then. We even have credit cards. So if we can't afford it, we have a credit card that can, you know, we can get it then and then pay it off. But with this, it's different. It's allowing and unfolding to happen. And this is all a part of that journey. It's all a part of your spiritual journey as well. And it's connecting all of that. As above, so below, as within, so without. So I wish you all a blessed week. I will be able to do another one next week. I will be having a show on the 31st, October 31st, on the cauldron.net at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You will need to check, if you're in a different time zone, you will need to check and see what time that is for you. Please remember that we do have a chat room, so you're more than welcome to come chat with me in the chat room. I can answer your questions there. You can just, you know, chittle chat with me. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And I wish you all merry part until we merry meet again. Thank you.